Hello, I am CharLee Simons. Yep, talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about: politics and religion. One decides what life is going to be like here on earth, the other one decides what it's going to be like when we leave it. Very important. And the silent majority has finally found its voice. Man, it took way too long. And that's because we kept having everybody tell us, don't talk about those things. The other side was screaming those things with obscenities and slurs and insults. And we just sat there and took it. Nope, not anymore. I would love for you to hit the like button right now, wherever you're watching, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or on rumble.com/DoNotTalk. Click that like. Please click that like button right now. I'll wait. Okay, thanks. And also follow this channel wherever you're watching it, and you'll be helping too if you share these shows. So anything you want to know about what I'm doing or what's going on or shows posted or anything like that, you can find me in two places. One is yournews.com, CharLee Simons, with that spelling right there. And also, and that's my guest today, by the way, Sam Anthony from yournews.com. And you can find me at charliesimons.com. And you can support this ministry, which is what it is. There's several different ways you can do it: PayPal, Venmo, Give, Send, Go. It's all right there at charliesimons.com, my new fancy dancy website. Thank you very much. Christine Bish is going to be joining us too. She's running for Congress in California, an actual real conservative. And I'll tell you how conservative she is. She just got back from the California Republican Assembly Convention. I missed it this time around. I'm sorry I did, because it was the most well-attended one they've had so far. If you don't know what the California Republican Assembly is, don't feel badly. Nobody seems to know who they are. Ronald Reagan said it's the conscience of the Republican Party, but yet they suck at self-promotion. I didn't find out about them until 3-4 years ago. And I'm like, where have you been? Oh, I don't know. We've been around since the 30s or whenever it is. What do you tell people? So she's going to tell you more about that and about what's going on in politics in California, because as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. And I know Sam Anthony disagrees with me on that, but I've seen too much evidence of it happening too many times. We've got a very woke populace who will run headlong when on my side of things. The Republicans run headlong into anything shiny. Right now, we got a governor's race coming up in 26, and it's Governor Hairdo is going to term out, the worst governor the state has ever had. There's a recall effort going on right now. You want to get involved on that, I please suggest you do. You help them financially. You sign the forms to get involved, to get your name on the list of, yeah, we want to recall this horrible thing. And that's at savingcalifornia.vote, savingcalifornia.vote. But let's go back to 3 years ago. Remember when the truck drivers up in Canada decided they were going to do a across the country convoy to bring attention to the shutdowns that their communist dictator, Justin Trudeau, actually it was imposing on the Canadians. And of course, the same thing was happening here under Joe Biden. Canada blazed the trail. Those truckers were heroes as far as I'm concerned. But you had people who were doing everything they could to shut them down and shut them up, especially this pig.
Yes, I doxed the truckers. I did it. It was me. I hacked Give, Send, Go, baby. And I do it again.
And yes, you looking at yourself.
I do it 100 times.
100 times.
I did it. I did it.
You did
Come
it.
at me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me, huh?
What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Look at all the hearts going up. Look how exciting that is.
I hacked Epic Hosting. I hacked Parler. I hacked Gab. I hacked Truth Social. I hacked Go, Give, Send, Go.
No.
I don't care.
I don't care. Thank you, Gollum. Those are the people on the left. Oh, and by the way, he's saying, what are you going to do? He's been brought up on charges in a federal court in Texas. He could be facing up to 10 years in federal prison for doing all that. I don't care. What are you going to do to me? Put you in prison? You stupid, worthless hack. Is California getting any better? Is California on a better track? Are we going to be able to have any kind of influence with the Republican Party in the upcoming governor's race and the congressional races that are happening in 26? Well, according to One America News,
Yes, I doxed the truckers. I did it. It was me.
that was horrible. Let's try this. Here we go. Sorry.
Are fed up with decades of radical Democrat leadership, and polls show nearly half of all voters say they'd support a Republican governor. One America's Pearson Sharp has more.
I like this guy. This guy's good. I miss One America News being on my cable and satellite system that I get. You have to go online now to get them, but worth it.
There was a
OANN.com.
5.2 magnitude earthquake in California this week, right around the same time Kamala Harris said she might run for governor. Coincidence? Well, until the rivers run red and the frogs start falling, it's the clearest sign yet things are not well in the Golden State. In case you missed it, California's next governor could very well be Kamaguchi herself. Who spends all her time either lying or lying down, which is how she usually gets ahead.
Oh, goodness.
Just ask Willie Brown. But if early polling is any indication, even the blue-haired trannies here in California aren't banging down doors to get her into office. A new survey shows that most California voters either don't care or are openly opposed to her running again. On top of that, and this is incredible in the deep blue of California, but nearly half of all voters here say they'd consider a Republican for governor. When the Democrat candidates are so bad, liberals would rather vote for a Republican, that tells you something. It also proves Kamala's brand of communist cronyism isn't fooling anyone, even here in California. Her image is in the dumpster, and she belongs in there with it. But the Democrat Party is still keeping her on life support.
I don't know if I hope that's true. I wish that were true. Christine Bish, hello, my friend.
Hello.
Love her. Love her. Welcome back to the show. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming in. And is that true? Do you get that vibe? You're out there a lot. Do you really think that Californians are finally going to get smart and do the right thing and actually even get involved?
You know what? It's up to the individual candidates. We have to reach out to our constituents, our area. You know, I can't help people in LA or, Bay Area. I need to work and focus, because all politics are local, work on the district that I have. And it's up to it's not a Republican thing. And this is something that we need to get past. Republican, Democrat, Independent. We need to treat people as individuals and not try and box them. And a lot of people running for office, we get caught in that box. Christians, we get caught in that box. We talk to other Christians. But unless you're willing to go out and talk to people who don't think the way you think, who don't believe what you believe, you can't change someone's heart until you get their ear.
And then you got the cheating, and then you got the election fraud, and then you got millions of illegals who are voting thanks to the motor voter law put into effect by Jerry Brown. And it is an uphill battle. Are we able to overcome that numbers wise? And I know a really good. You think so?
Oh yeah, because we have the Real ID. It's a couple days away. That was never intended to be a voter ID, but Trump has already said that he wants voter ID in federal elections. So California will be left with two options. And I truly believe this is going to happen because we've already passed the SAVE Act in Congress. It's off to the Senate. And as soon as the Senate passes, Trump will sign it because the individual states can run their elections the way they want. But in those federal elections,
I don't want the
there's only
California
three
state to
offices.
turn
There's
people in
only three.
power running the elections
Well, hold on.
because they
There's
have.
only three offices that run for federal election: President, U.S. Senate, and Congress. So it will be up to really our Secretary of State right now if
It was a bad one.
in June of 26, if we're going to have two separate elections, if she's going to run two sets of ballots. Now, they're already bankrupt. The state's bankrupt. The individual counties are bankrupt because of this boondoggle they did with the mail-in ballots. And that's a whole nother, we could do a whole show on that. But when we go to showing your ID in a federal election, they have a year. They'll figure it out, how they're going to do it and how they're going to do it in compliance with federal law.
I hope
And
so. It's going to have to.
what's great is they've had 20 years to get a real ID. So you're going to have to show your ID to get your ballot. Sorry, guys, that's the way it is.
But that puts an end to mail-in ballots, doesn't it?
It should, and I hope it does. Because there's a whole lot of fraud.
Let's get you to move. Let's see. Hold up your right hand for me, would you, Chris? There you go. Let's get you in the middle. And speaking of in the middle, let's put your beautiful face in between two pretty ugly guys. Sam Anthony from yournews.com. What's up, Bubba?
How you doing, Charlie? Christine, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So I'm listening to what she's saying. There's going to be two different elections or two different ballots.
Yeah, I want to know more about that too.
Yeah, what the hell is that? It's like, okay, this is the cheater one and this is the one that's real. Which one do you want to vote for? Or?
Exactly. Well, remember in several areas, San Francisco being one of them, they do let illegal aliens, they're not immigrants, they're aliens, illegal aliens vote in local elections. So with the SAVE Act and Real ID, in order to get a federal ballot, which is going to be, here in California, it's going to be the congressional races. Those are the only federal offices. So they'll have to do a separate ballot in order to make sure that it's only federal candidates that you can vote for. And luckily with the Real ID and the little star up on the golden bear in the corner, you'll be able to get that ballot.
You trust it?
Do I trust it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've had my Real ID for years.
You're on board with the Real ID then?
Huh?
You're on board with it?
I was on board with it 20 years ago.
Okay.
And they kept pushing it down. And it's no harder to get a Real ID than it is to get a passport. It's actually faster and easier. But people are panicking because of misinformation. But it's your birth certificate. And, they've been saying women who've been married, their name is changed. It's not their married name on their birth certificate. How do you change your birth certificate? Well, come on, Stimpy, you don't. It's the DMV. You take your marriage license and your birth certificate in so you can prove that you have a new name. I mean, this is not complicated stuff. And for all of those people, man, if I were not an honest person, they'd be an easy mark.
Now, I have a passport and I also serve in the military. I can use my passport to get onto bases and into government buildings and to fly.
Yes.
How important is it for me to get a Real ID?
Not at all. As long as you keep your passport up, you're good. You don't need it.
Okay.
And, I don't like the idea that we have to show our papers to travel. But it's only on airplanes. And what they're not talking about, it's also going to count for buses. And you have to show your ID now. Come on, folks. We all have to show our ID
Of
to get
course.
on a Greyhound bus, to get on a train, to get on a plane. The difference is you need an ID that proves your citizenship. That's it.
Okay.
It's not
Sam,
complicated.
what do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I like the idea of the birth certificate, right? So, I mean, you know, if you've got I don't know if you could fake a birth certificate. I guess Obama did, so I guess it could be done. However, it certainly makes it much more difficult. So, yeah, because that was my next question is, so, you know, how, can anyone get one of these IDs? So, I guess the level of cheating just has to rise to another level, right?
Yeah, this is a nationwide thing. This is something George W. Bush actually enacted after 9/11.
I'm blown away that we actually have to have these conversations because there's actually people who want people who have no vested interest in this country to be making decisions on behalf of where your money goes. To me, is just stupid.
Because it's worked for them. That's why they want it.
So at the end of the day, what they really need is they need a whole new voter base to vote for them. And they need to make sure that they control the votes with machines, and they need to make sure that they could have mail-in ballots so they can just stuff the ballot boxes and bring in trucks if they need them. So what blows me away is this is where we're actually at. And, you know, I'm going to bite my tongue on, you know, I won't say certain things on TV, I guess you could say, but this really needs to end, and it needs to end fast. So, you know, it's gotten to the point of ridiculous. I mean,
you mentioned we need a whole new voting base. We have a whole new voting base, don't we, Christine Bish? And it's called Christians in California. Only 40% of those who claim to be Christian in this state, only 40% of them are even registered to vote. We have a whole new voting base just sitting there. All they have to do is actually engage and then show up for the midterm and primary elections, which we don't. It's a dismal turnout, especially for Christians in the teens. And that's deciding who's going to the big election in the primary election. We can't even be bothered. Vote by mail is sitting on your counter. All you have to do is fill it out and mail it in. And they're not even doing that.
You know who our other voter base that doesn't turn out? Gun owners.
Isn't that weird?
Weird?
I now, me being a 2A guy, I don't get that. It seems like no better way to protect your vested interest in protecting our Second Amendment than actually being involved in the system that was put together for us, blessed by God, for a constitutional republic.
Can I just add? Maybe they're just looking for a reason to use them.
No.
I hope that's not true.
I got this gun. I got all these bullets. I keep collecting bullets. What the hell am I going to do with these things? I don't have enough room in the house for all these bullets. We need a problem.
We need a problem. Oh, I hope that's not true. But
dude, I'm running for Congress. You cannot go there.
No.
Exactly.
It's a joke. But okay, so Christine, when are you running? Like, I mean, when is the elections? When is that going to be?
We're in it. We're in it right now. The primary is on June 2nd, and I have to win the primary first. I've won a couple of them, and then we go to the general election, which is in November
of 26.
Of 26.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So it's not time. It's not this June. It's next.
Not
June.
this June. It's next June.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a short amount of time. It seems like a long time, but in the world of politics, it's like raising kids. You blink your eye and it's there.
You're part of the California Republican Assembly, which I love. I love them and what they're doing. But they are the only ones actually talking to candidates who are running for governor of the state of California. The Republican Party, the state party, seems to keep saying, "Oh, it's too early. It's too early. Don't talk about it yet. Don't have these people on yet." I'm like, well, first of all, screw you. You're not going to tell me who I'm going to have on my show. I started a while ago, but I want people. Top of mind awareness is important now. Oh, you don't want to peak. You don't want to talk too early, and it's okay, whatever. I think we should never stop talking about something so important as to the future of our state. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I am not the darling of the Republican Party.
I know. That's why I asked you. Yeah, I know.
I am quite outspoken, and I don't say what is politically correct. I tell the truth. Regardless, it doesn't matter. They've already, they've got their finger, trying to put their finger on the pulse and push who's going to be best for the party. There is, I think, 15 Republicans running already, and I don't know, 20, 25 Democrats already running. Right now it's about fundraising, and we've got political parties trying to control who's doing what and who's running for office. It's up to those individual candidates, who's going to work hardest. We already know the state party's in for Chad Bianco, who I cannot and will not get behind.
It'll be fun to watch them now that, because they are attracted to anything shiny. Steve Hilton has now entered the fray, and Bianca was their golden boy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Steve Hilton, he was on Fox News. Everybody knows him. Look at him. And what do they do now?
You know what? I like Steve. I had talked to him about a year and a half ago. I knew he was running in advance, but that was his deal, so I kept it to myself. Chad Bianco, I can't get past taking a knee unless they've got a gun to
BLM
his wife's head.
He took a knee. Yep,
he took a knee. He took a knee.
Hey, Sam, what happens here in California? And I really can't explain why, other than maybe it's just power and control would be on the innocent side of things. I think it's more nefarious than that. I think we have infiltrators. I think we have some major league rhinos who are running the state party in California. Here's what they do, Sam, and Chris can tell you this. She can attest to this. You have a great conservative candidate like her, like Eric Early, like David Serpa. You got people like Mindy Petchenuk, great conservatives running for different offices, and their own Republican Party will, towards getting close to when the primaries are going to happen, throw a rhino into the mix.
Oh, we already got one.
Young and pretty, looks good, sounds good, but is no conservative. And they muddy up the waters. And next thing you know, because of our jungle primary crap here, you have two Democrats running for that same seat, even though we had a great conservative who was heading up that way. Chris, I want to get your thoughts on this. But first, I want to ask Sam. He's out in Florida. Is that happening there with the Republican Party, too? Are they doing that crap, or are you all on board?
I don't see it happening here. And keep in mind, I try to stay as far away from politics as I possibly can. It seems like I get sucked into it like all the time.
Every time you talk to me.
So, well, look, we live in a bubble here. Okay. It's hard to find a Democrat around here. You can't find them. They just don't exist, especially in this town. I think there's like 3. Like out of 100,000 people. So it's a different world than what you guys are experiencing. And so we don't really understand the stupidity levels at which people can actually get to be able to cast their votes for people who are on board with things that are absolutely ridiculous. We don't understand any of that stuff. It just blows my mind that people would actually vote for them. So then I start to say, maybe they're not really voting for him because nobody could be that dumb. And maybe it's just all fake. Because when you look at the map of the U.S. for the voting by county, Trump won 87.6% or 3. I don't remember what it was. So, and I've always said, there's no way that 50% of this country is that stupid. It's 10%. And so when you look at that map, it's, you got basically 90% red and you got 10% that's blue. And that to me resonated. So, and don't forget, that's with all the damn cheating. It was probably more like 95 or 96 because there was an absolute boatload of cheating. So I don't believe people are as dumb. Come on. All the stuff that's going on and all the stuff with Doge and all the stuff they're uncovering. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. When you look at that, you gotta know that's wrong. And then you see people burning these Teslas, like, that Elon Musk is a fascist. He's a Nazi. What are you talking about? Okay. He's called an auditor. He's just auditing the books. And here's what we found. You should be happy. So that kind of stuff just absolutely blows my mind. But that can't represent the bulk of the population. I just can't buy it. When it comes to California and it comes to control, I understand that, absolute power, right? They do not want to give it up. Absolutely not. So they're going to do whatever it takes to stay in power, and they're going to do whatever it takes to take everything away from you. Okay, that they don't want you to have anything. Okay, that's the whole game plan. So I don't see it. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in California, but I know long term that model will never work because people just get fed up.
Christine, he's definitely described it perfectly as to what's going on here. It's all about the party in power, controlling the party out of power. So this is a super majority of Democrats here in California, and they've wrangled it to such a point to where even legally, I don't see a light at the end of our tunnel. But especially with our own Republican Party doing exactly what I had just said, throwing rhinos into the mix to muddy up the waters, to split the vote, to make sure that a real conservative doesn't get into office.
Well, it's about maintaining their power. See, the California Republican Party has taken the stance of Bud Light, right? It didn't work for Bud. It's not going to work for the Republican Party. They want to try to appeal to Democrats and say, hey, we're just as good. It's like the Pepsi challenge. We're going to take the taste test. We're the same. That's why Christians stay home. That's why Christians don't want to vote. We have a Republican Party trying to pander to Democrats rather than stand on their principles.
Right.
And this is where the divide is. I do believe California is more red. We have concentrations, the big cities, people who want to live like rats, right on top of each other. And that's, hey, everybody's got to do them, live your best life. But we have a party that is not leading by example.
No.
And they're in a comfortable place. You got to think about this with Republicans. We have our token Republicans in the state assembly. Our highest elected official for Republicans right now is Ted Gaines. Very nice man, but he's on the Board of Equalization. So that's just a little bit scary. But if you have no power, then you don't have to produce results. You can just ask for money and say, I'm fighting the bad guys, keep giving me money, and woe is me, there's nothing I can do.
That's what I've been saying. It seems so apparent to me, especially now as a delegate with the state party, that they seem to love being in second place because it's easier to fundraise.
Exactly. And they're going to hit the same fundraising base. Yep.
Yes.
And that's why California is one of the best fundraising states for candidates outside of California. They just don't want to invest in the state. So, it's an interesting mix here. There's a lot going on with the California Party. We have new leadership, and I'll bite my tongue for the moment, giving them an opportunity to prove me wrong. But I know.
Well, I didn't vote for the chair. That's for sure.
Nope.
I was a Mike Morrell guy. I think the chair that we have in there now is just going to be more of the same old that we had for the past 6 years.
Absolutely not. It's going to be way worse. And she's going to fry me for it. She just gave herself a $50,000 a year raise.
That's $300,000 per year. By the way, twice what the Democrat state party chair makes. And they win elections.
Well, and we just lost 3 incumbent congressional seats, some of them under 300 votes. So, hey, for that extra money, I hope she's working extra hard. And my prayer is that she proves me wrong. I would absolutely love for Corinne to prove me wrong. I hope she rises to the occasion. She's new. If she thinks she deserves the money, great. But girlfriend, you need to earn it and get some people elected.
Amen.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Sam, Christine is running against somebody who's been in power for about, 10 years now? 10 years?
Yeah.
Ami Bera, when he first ran for that congressional seat, he's a doctor. So they made such a big deal out of that. We're supposed to trust him because he's a doctor. Well, so is Fauci. So is Mengele. I don't automatically
Took the words out of
trust.
my mouth. So.
Well, and he is also the official surrogate. He was the official surrogate for Joe Biden. So here's the medical doctor who was covering up for, Captain Underpants, all of his mental problems and everything else. He actually had a higher bar as a doctor to be truthful about, Biden's mental capabilities. We've actually got him on video a week before he asked Biden to step aside. I'll send you over the video. It's a great clip. We run it over and over again about him saying how he doesn't have a problem with how Biden has governed and continues to govern. And then a week later, he says, you're doddering old fool, step aside so we can put in a cackling hyena.
Dang.
Oh my God, is that perfect? And so Captain Underpants, I do like the name. That or Captain Shitstain. I don't one of them.
Underpants cleaner. We can get Christians to go with it.
Exactly. And you keep calling them Democrats, and I'm thinking more Commie-crats would be.
Commie-crats is the better word.
Because I don't think, if you're talking about the higher level politics in the Republican Party or in the Democratic Party, they're communists. That's
no, I'm talking about the dummies that keep putting them into tremendous positions of power. Those are the Democrats I'm talking about.
Those are definitely the Democrats. Yeah.
And I'm really careful. I'm going to tell you this. I am very careful about belittling Democrats. I'll go after liberals and progressives all day long. But we have two brands of Democrat. We have the AOC brand that cannot be reasoned with, and we have the JFK brand. And these are patriotic Americans who are Democrat for one reason or another. And they actually crossed over in the last election. I got a lot of votes from non-Republicans. And in Sacramento, where I'm at, we actually have more no party preference. See, in Sacramento area, the Democrat Party is only 44%. They are not the majority. Republicans in my district are 28.8%. The balance is no party preference or independent party. And here it's because we do have political tyranny. If you are a registered Republican and you've got a spouse that works for the state, you work for the state, parent, whatever, trust me, they will go after your family. It's like dealing with the mob. So I don't, or they'll stay Democrat because they've always been a Democrat, but they'll vote differently. So
I hope they do, but for the most part, you're right. In your county there, your district rather, more than half the population works for the frickin' government. So of course they're going to continue voting for wherever the freebies come from and the job security.
Or they don't vote at all because there are a lot of Christian conservatives. And remember, they have to hide their Christianity as well.
Really?
And they're working for the government? Yeah.
Oh, in Sacramento and California? Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
You have to hide your religion.
Mm-hmm.
Or what?
So you don't lose your job.
Yeah. You'll get railroaded. You'll get ostracized. You'll get blacklisted. Oh, yeah. You won't get
is there any religion that doesn't have to hide it?
Muslims.
You're kidding. So that's okay to be a Muslim.
No, because they'll put rare rugs and everything. And I know some Muslim people who are they're really nice people. You got to remember, there are fanatics in every group, in every religion, every class, every race, you name it, whatever box it is, there are fanatics. I truly believe the majority of people are good. And they just want to live their lives the way they want. But we have a bunch of whack jobs that are in the state legislature. And they're doing crazy stuff. It's like making prostitution for 16 and 17-year-olds legal.
Yeah, they just took that stipulation out of that bill to try and make it, so they'll be prosecuted as felons if they traffic children. But yet they took out the part that 16 and 17-year-olds are exempted.
Well, and did you read the excuse? Scott Wiener, He's one of the wacko legislators here.
Nutbag.
And he's only got 2 years left. He's out. He's termed out. Thank goodness. But anyhow, Scott Wiener said the reason they had to do it is because if you're in high school and you offer some girl $20 to get it on, you shouldn't be a felon. To think that a girl in high school is going to sell herself for $20, if that's your excuse, dude, you don't even like girls.
No,
you aren't getting how this works.
CharLee, do you remember when it was only $2?
It was a Big Mac and a Coke.
A number one combo. Hey, I'm gonna get lucky. No, I don't remember that, Sam.
That was the reason that he gave. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. He should just experiment, maybe going out with a girl. Maybe a nice girl. Find out, it's going to cost you more than 20. Ask my husband.
I would not wish that walking, talking. I would not wish that walking, talking petri dish on any woman.
Is this the same Wiener that was sending dick pics to?
Yes.
Somebody? That guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's still alive.
He's a swine. San Francisco senator, of course.
So he wants it to be legal for prostitution in California or just in San Francisco? Okay, and then you could also be 16 and 17 years old and still doing it?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Trafficking 16 and 17-year-olds.
Wow.
I have been a firm believer for a long time that you follow the money.
I thought it was
How
Anthony
is this dude profiting from this?
No, that's a different Wiener.
Okay.
We're talking about two different Wieners, but both of them corroded and filthy and ridiculous.
One of them likes girls, one doesn't, but it's the same sick version.
Yeah. One likes girls, one likes boys.
So prostitution is now coming to California. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it's been here for a while.
Oh, yeah.
It's been here for a while.
It's not illegal to be a prostitute.
Police can't even talk to them or arrest them for loitering. Even.
But you can't be a Christian.
Correct.
Right.
Right. Wow, that's just freaking genius.
Oh, what were you going to say about your husband, Christine?
I was going to, we were talking about how much it costs to be a prostitute, that costs $20 in high school. I said, I've been married to my husband for almost 40 years. He's been on direct deposit for decades. They ain't getting off that cheap.
That's right. That's right. Know your worth.
Know your worth. Christine, Sam runs a social media platform that provides news from people like me. Many of us are reporters and both video, podcasts, journalists who have been thrown out and thrown away by their own media and still have that talent and still have that desire to inform and let people know here's what's going on.
You mean the people that actually won the presidential election? It was podcasters and alternate media.
Those are the people that are on yournews.com.
That won this last election, yes.
They're the ones that are on yournews.com. And it's a you call it a hyper local thing, Sam, where you can actually put in your zip code and just get news from your area if you want, or whatever area of the country or the world. And it's growing like crazy. It's been really exciting to even be a part of it. I'm on there. So any podcasters, or journalists who are, looking for an outlet, and he monetizes too.
So I have a question for Christine, though. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So Christine, do you ever get the local media to cover anything you're doing or give you a really good reviews and say good things about you?
No.
No? Okay.
Oh, no. They did cover me when 2 times they did cover me. One of them was during the lockdown. Mm-hmm. Gavin Newsom tried to put in a curfew. I'd had a curfew since I was a teenager. So we did have a curfew busting party out in front of his house. And that made national news because I'm out there. A couple hundred of my best friends are out there in their trucks and cars. Actually, it was more like a couple thousand when we did it that night, the first night of the curfew. And so I'm on Facebook, I'm live, and there's all these taillights around me. And I got this blue glow in my face. But with all the taillights, it looked like I was standing in the pits of hell. But it was actually out in front of the governor's house. So that got a lot of press. That picture of me standing in the flames of hell with this beautiful blue glow, which was Facebook. Funny. And then the other time I got covered really well here in Sacramento was when I held a rally on January 6th here at the Capitol because I was already suing the governor for the
2001
lockdown.
2001.
This was January 6th. There was a rally in DC.
January 6th, 2001.
2001. Mm-hmm. And I
2021. Did I say 2001?
Yes. Me. So I held a sister protest out at the Capitol, and of course we couldn't go on the Capitol grounds, so I rented this big flatbed truck, and a bunch of my friends organized it, and so I emceed it and had some friends up there, and we had thousands of people show up out in front of the Capitol. Great pictures. And I was so excited because we had Antifa there, but we had no problems. They were outside the gates. It was fun. And we were playing what was going on, the mayhem going on in DC. And I was so excited. I ran back to my office when we shut down. It was about 3:00 California time. And I put in a permit. There was a whole process to this where they were going to turn me down and I'd do it in the street anyhow. But anyhow, I put in to hold another rally on the inauguration day. And then Trump came out and said, no more rallies. We've got to tone this down from what happened on January 6th. And I got covered because I canceled the rally. Not that I had the first one, but because I canceled the second one.
Okay. So if I heard you correctly, you were partying with Antifa. Is that correct?
Hey, everybody's got,
I was there. I was there. I was one of the guest
You were
speakers.
there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. But yeah, definitely what happened in DC kind of, just shut everything else down, media-wise.
But
and
that's why
that's
what they covered is I decided not to have a rally.
Not to have a rally.
A rally. You canceled it.
I canceled it.
All right. So here's what I could do for you.
Okay.
If you have, rather than relying on the mainstream media to cover anything you're doing,
mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have information you want to share with the community, right? In Sacramento. I mean, you have probably press. Do you have anybody that handles press? Anybody does anything like that or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So any kind of news coverage you want or any press releases, we can publish them for you. We could also do video. So, and it'll run in politics. And I'm guessing the whole Sacramento, is it just like Sacramento County or the whole market?
It's only Sacramento County. You know what, CharLee, we did get national attention on another one. Mm-hmm. You remember which one we got? We're still getting it.
Remind me.
Adam Schiff.
Oh, thank you. I was definitely going to bring that up. Sam, Christine is the one that broke that story. And the same thing's happening right now to Letitia James in New York. Same thing.
Marilyn Mosby. Mm-hmm. And they're going after Senator Tuberville, but his is different. They kicked RFK Jr. off the ballot in New York because I broke the story. I've been working on this since 2019, how Adam Schiff is actually a resident of Maryland, not California. I'm up to over 300 pages of evidence. That's all me.
Okay. So I guess since you're not a journalist at a newspaper, you would be considered a citizen journalist. Is that correct?
I am an investigator. This makes me a whistleblower.
Yes, I love it. Okay. So you need to send me your email address. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be you or yes, definitely. By the way, I knew your name and I'm like, God, I know that name. So I work with Steve Stern a lot. Him and I talk every day.
Okay. Drain the Swamp endorsed me.
Yeah. So I saw, I looked it up and Steve had sent me something with you. You were on with him one time or something like that. So, and he's mentioned your name many times. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah. So that was the connection. Because when he said we're going to be on with Christine Bish, I said, God, I know that name. And usually a lot of the names come from Steve, because him and I are constantly talking and sharing people with each other, because that guy wants to talk to everybody, and so do I. So, it's definitely a good connection. I'm glad we got a chance to talk. But yeah, what I can do for you is give you a microphone and bypass the mainstream media and give you the ability to straight from the horse's mouth. Okay. Right. So anything, we can, so think of me as, is it the Sacramento Bee? Is that the newspaper? Is that what it is? So
it's more like a lining for a bird cage.
Well, exactly. I mean, look, and by the way, CharLee was saying the numbers, I'm just going to tell you what they were. Adweek came out a few weeks ago with the numbers for broadcast television. And Fox News was number one. Now, keep in mind, the numbers I'm going to give you for the quarter, 3 months, January, February, March. Fox had 3 million viewers for the quarter. MSNBC.
Fox used to get 3 million viewers per night when Tucker Carlson was on for an hour.
MSNBC
now it's for over 3 months.
I know. MSNBC had one.
They're number one. So what are the other ones? Yeah.
MSNBC had 1 million. CNN had 588, so say 600,000 people. And I was telling CharLee, that's not the news. The news is the demographic between 25 and 54, that age group. Between all three combined, it was a tad over 500,000 people, which means that, they have an older, the demographic watching cable news is 70 plus, probably 72 right now. And the younger generation is just consuming information somewhere else. They're, TikTok, Rumble, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're just, nobody's watching cable news is the point I'm trying to make. So that whole entity is nothing more than an antiquated product. And by the way, it is absolutely no different than somebody creating a telephone, which replaced the telegraph. Seriously. There used to be something called a horse and buggy, and then somebody created an automobile, right? There's always a product that replaces something else. So those products were replaced. The legacy media is not going to survive. They're not going to be able to figure all this stuff out. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Christine, what I do will replace them. So I'm hyper local in every city in the United States. So I could serve news to a city, a county, a market, state, regional, or national. So and it's by subject: sports, business, politics, entertainment. So if you wanted me to publish your kid's Little League game, it's sports news for the city. It could be a city. What's a city in Sacramento County besides Sacramento?
Antelope.
Okay.
It's an unincorporated area. Yeah.
So I could have a sports story appear only in the city of Antelope, while the high school football game is going to run to the whole market, which is the Sacramento market, while the Monday Night Football game is Sports News National. Make sense?
Yes.
So I get thousands of contributors. I was telling CharLee, we picked up 340 news reporters in the last 4 months, 346 or something like that. So this year I want to hit 5,000 news reporters. So we'll have 5,000, and then 20,000, 100,000. So remember, I got 20,000 cities. So if I only have 5 people running around Sacramento, I got 100,000 people, right?
Yeah.
20,000. So ultimately, the legacy media will be gone. So what we live in now is that, the centralized news, right? Where it's all controlled by corporations. And ultimately what I do is decentralize that and democratize it. So the democratization is you are the news reporter, and we don't censor. So if it's an opinion and I disagree, it goes in opinions. If you're writing an actual news story, it goes in the category: sports, business, politics, entertainment. Oh, I'm going to be the most hated person in the freaking world. So, but I'm good with that.
I was shooting for that.
Here's the best part about that, Christine, is you now have a reputable source of information that you can reference according, that you can find all the information go to my page at yournews.com. And now you have a platform that bypasses your local media that has done everything to shut you down and shut you up. The biggest lie they tell is by the lie of omission, never even talking about things going on or people like you doing good things. Yeah. Now you bypass that. That's what I love about this and what's happening.
I love it.
If you give me something big, I could get it national coverage. But not only me, but everyone.
If I can.
You can.
If I can.
Oh, you're going to
buckle in, dude.
Let the games
We're about to get real.
Right. Anytime prostitution now costs $20, I'm out. Okay. Where are the $2 whores? Where they used to be?
They've been exported to China. And
Inflation, man, I can't keep up with this stuff.
Inflation. I love it. I think it's fantastic. What's on the horizon now, Christine? What can we look forward to? What are you working on besides the shift thing? Is shift done?
Shift is not done. I have more evidence that has not been released. From what I understand, I've got some friend of mine, John Stubbins, and some other people in the media who have really been working it. I know we've gotten it before Byron Donalds and Jim Jordan, and I recently submitted it to FHFA, which is the organization that referred Letitia James for prosecution. This would be best handled rather than me submitting it, and I'm waiting to hear back, is if we had a district attorney or sheriff in California who would look at this, and once they refer it, it explodes. It's done. Now they're going after Senator Tuberville for it. The Democrats really created the roadmap for prosecuting Adam Schiff on this, and how they did it is when they went after RFK Jr. in New York. That was a civil case, but we have the judge's ruling talking about maintaining these separate addresses for the purposes of running for office. And when RFK Jr. Filed his appeal, I pulled those documents. It was a beautiful document that lost, and it's every possible argument that Adam Schiff could make. It's just, I love it when other people do the work for me. I just have to go look for it.
Right.
So we have several people in Washington, D.C., because in my adventures, I have discovered other people that have done this. So that is a big bombshell. And I'll go ahead and give this one to you. Do you know that Doris Matsui in California and Adam Schiff of California both paid restitution to the state of Maryland?
What?
Yes, for taking the homeowner's exemption in Maryland. And when they got caught, I think it was 2009, they had to pay restitution to the state of Maryland. And then they just kind of buried everything. Then they both refinanced their houses as their primary residence in Maryland, which shows a pattern and practice of behavior in their felonies.
Wow.
But no one's above the law except them.
They are above the law.
They are not.
Well, because in theory, but at the end of the day, nobody ever prosecutes these people. But now you
tell that to George Santos.
Well, listen, different administration now, different people. So, I just every day I pray they bring back the public hangings. That's what I'm interested in. Anybody else?
No, but I kind of, what is it? Singapore, if you get caught spray painting, tagging, they don't kill you. They just take off the end of your spray finger, just take off the end. It's little pruners so you can't work a spray can anymore.
You got to use the other finger.
They're really doing that? That's not true.
Oh, yeah. Singapore's bad.
I mean, I know about the caning, the public caning, but I did not know about that. They'll amputate the end of your index finger just to drive that point home. So next time you think about it, you might.
This is what I've heard. I haven't personally witnessed it, just what I've heard.
I want to go visit Singapore. It sounds like an awesome place. That's funny. All right. Sam Anthony, yournews.com. Go there, get your information from there, explore it. Find me there, please. That'd be nice. I'd appreciate it. Watch some of the videos there and read the news stories. Get your news from a platform like that and stop relying. Fellow conservatives, would you please stop worshiping at the altar of Fox? Fox News is not what they used to be. Please stop worshiping and giving them your support. Go to find One America News, find Newsmax, start giving them your support if you want to watch shows. But Fox, I mean, there's very few left. Laura Ingraham is one, Jesse Waters is another one, and that's about where it ends for me. I'm not even interested in what Sean Hannity says anymore. I'll never forget that he took that shot and he encouraged others to do it. I'll never forget that.
So did Kevin Kiley.
So did
You know, I'm like the girl in high school that has big hair because that's where all the secrets are.
That's where all the secrets are. But all that aside, I'm encouraging you to please go to yournews.com. And if you want to get in on the ground floor as an investor, now's the time. Now's the time. This is the Google that you didn't take advantage of when you could have, but now you can.
No, it was Microsoft.
You'll find
That's
all
the
that
one.
information at the bottom of the page. Go to yournews.com, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find all that information, and even how to become a reporter or a contributor. Thank you, Sam Anthony. Any final thoughts?
For me? No, I actually want to talk to Christine off the show here. That's what I want to do. I just got to figure out how to do it.
Well, you know what? For everybody out there, you can find me at bishforcongress.com. It's BISH for Congress.com. And just remember, the Bish is back.
By the way, Sam, I worked with Christine. Didn't work with her as part of our campaign or anything. I couldn't because of where I was working at the time, but I could interview her. And she was one of the very first political candidates I ever interviewed. And I just fell in love with her immediately. The other one, by the way, was Kevin Kiley. But Christine had a campaign slogan that on the particular company that I worked for, which was a big broadcaster, found offensive and pulled her ads until she changed them. So please tell Sam what your original campaign slogan was.
It's time to send a Bish to Congress, and I'm just the Bish to get things done.
Wow, that's it?
That's
brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
If your name is Chris Bish, you own it, or they will own you.
All right, that's kids. Good. I'll talk to you all in just a second. Hang on. We'll go off air, okay? Hang on. And you want to help this show and you want to contribute and you want to help me keep going, you sure could, and I could use it. Thank you very much for your support. CharLeeSimons.com. CharLeeSimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America, bless God.